Hello, my name is Sonali and I welcome you all to this week's Sunday special episode of Around the World in 7 Days. There was a time when America used to have adverse views towards India. Those were the times when America was not even ready to listen to India. However, it treated Pakistan as its dearest friend. There was a time when India looked towards America with hopeful eyes due to the food crisis, but America never entertained India's concerns. In such a situation, to save its self-respect, the then Indian Prime Minister Sri Lal Bahadur Shastri gave the slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Not just this, at one point of time, it had even imposed an economic blockade of India, and other countries of the West also supported it in this. There were many such occasions when America spoke and acted against India. But now, times have changed. Now the new world order is on the verge of being abandoned from the old pattern. In such a situation, there has been a change in America's perspective also. Whereas earlier America often held views against India on global forums, now India and America are coming closer to each other at the ideological level as well. This is the reason why there has been a lot of warmth in the relations between India and America for the last decade. The situation is that India has taken the lead over America. Due to this, America now avoids criticizing India openly. Instead, it is now seen talking in favor of India. This scene was also seen in the 18th G20 summit held in Delhi recently, when despite Russia's name not being included in the Delhi Declaration on Ukraine issue, it gave its approval to this declaration. This happened because of India's dominance and India's importance for America. Not only this, these days America is not saying anything openly on the allegations leveled against India by Canada. In this matter, it is neither questioning India nor coming openly in favor of its brother Canada. This is because America does not want to annoy India in any way. It wants to deepen its friendship with India. But the question is, how did America's attitude towards India change? How did the two countries come closer to each other? After all, why did America give importance to India in place of Pakistan? With all such questions, today through this episode, we will take a historical journey of the relationship between India and America. In fact, when India became independent on 15th August 1947, the world was divided into two camps. The Cold War began on 12th March 1947. After this, America and Soviet Russia started strengthening their respective camps. When in the year 1949, the then Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru met the then US President Harry S. Truman, the world has just emerged from World War II and entered a long Cold War. This is the reason why America wanted to include India in its camp. In such a situation, the challenge before India was whether a newly independent country should become a part of any group. In this situation, Prime Minister Nehru preferred to become the leader of non-alignment instead of making himself a part of any faction. This made America angry. This is the reason why he preferred Pakistan over India, because Pakistan immediately agreed to become a part of the American camp. However, further in December 1959, US President Drishti IAS visited India. This was the first visit to India by any American president. Eisenhower met with the then Indian President Rajendra Prasad and Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. He also addressed the Indian Parliament. This led to speculations that America's attitude towards India might change. This brought some warmth in the relations between the two countries. When war broke out between India and China due to border dispute in 1962, Prime Minister Nehru wrote a letter to President John F. Kennedy asking for support or help from America. After this request, America became ready to help. Seeing American help, China unilaterally announced a ceasefire. Apart from this, America took India's side by recognizing the McMahon Line as the border. In this way, relations between India and America remained good till the India-Pakistan War of 1965. This is because Pakistan was an ally of America. After this, relations between the two countries mostly remained tense. But relations between the two countries reached their lowest level in the year 1971, when the people of East Pakistan, that is today's Bangladesh, were being tortured by the Pakistani army. Due to this, security concerns were also increasing for India being a neighboring country. In such a situation, when there was a conflict between the people of East Pakistan and the Pakistani army, India supported the oppressed people. Because of this, a war broke out between India and Pakistan. After this, in support of Pakistan, US President Richard Nixon sent the aircraft carrier Enterprise to the Bay of Bengal. This created a crisis for India. However, when India asked for help from Soviet Russia, it immediately provided help and sent one of its warships to deal with the American ship. After this, America recalled its aircraft carrier. In this way, America moved away from India and Soviet Russia came closer. In response to Chinese and American support for Pakistan, Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi signed a 20-year friendship treaty with the Soviet Union. After this, in the year 1974, India conducted its first nuclear test. Interestingly, India was the first country other than the 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council to declare nuclear capabilities. This move led to a rift between America and India for more than 2 decades. It is worth noting that as Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi had made 3 visits to America in March 1966, November 1971, and July 1982. But despite this, relations between the two countries remained sour. Further, Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi also made 3 visits to America in June 1985, October 1985, and October 1987. This did not bring any significant change in the relations between the two countries, but to some extent, the relations remained stable. All that can be said in this matter is that diplomatically India remained on the margins of American foreign policy. Later, the situation changed in India. In 1991, due to macroeconomic constraints, Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao's government begins comprehensive economic reforms. This helped a lot in expanding economic relations with America. Now the doors of Indian economy were opened to the rest of the world. It is known as India's first biggest economic reform. In this process, Prime Minister Narasimha Rao's visits to America in January 1992 and September 1997 started opening the doors for economic engagement with the American economy. But when 5 nuclear bombs were tested in Pokhran in 1998, during the tenure of Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, America became worried. As a result, the US imposed stringent economic sanctions on India. The result was that there was a deep rift in the relations between America and India. However, economic momentum was boosted by 4 visits by Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee to the US in September 2000, November 2001, September 2002, and September 2003 to improve relations. Due to this, the relations between the two countries started becoming stronger. So to speak, positive economic momentum had balanced out negative strategic freedom. Here is the reason that despite nuclear tests, American investment in India started increasing after the year 2000. Actually, US President Bill Clinton came on his first visit to India in the year 2000. This was the first visit by any American president since 1978. This trip reduced the distance caused by nuclear weapons test in 1998. However, the Clinton administration continued to pressure the Indian government to sign the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty. During this period, the Science and Technology Forum was also established. It is believed that the maturing and deepening of India-America relations started from here. Due to this, relations between the two countries had flourished during the tenure of Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Perhaps this is also because by the year 2004, India had started appearing as a rapidly growing large economy. In the year 2007, the Indian economy had touched the figure of $1 trillion US, which reached $2 trillion US in 2014. It is believed that for this reason and because of India's importance in the Indo-Pacific, America was taking interest in getting closer to India. This is why in 2005, the US and India signed a new framework for defense relations between the two countries, which sets priorities for defense cooperation in the areas of maritime security, humanitarian assistance, and disaster relief and counter-terrorism. After this, both the countries conducted the biggest naval exercise the same year. But the relations between the two countries deepened when India and the United States signed the Civil Nuclear Cooperation Deal in July 2005. This was an agreement in which it was said that the US ban on nuclear energy trade with India would be ended for 3 decades. Under the agreement, India agreed to separate its civilian and military nuclear facilities and place all its civilian resources under the safeguards of the International Atomic Energy Agency. In return, the US agreed to work towards full civil nuclear cooperation with India. It is worth noting that to strengthen relations with America, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had made a total of 8 American visits during both his tenures. After this comes the era of current Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Prime Minister Modi inherits a $2 trillion US economy and strategic goodwill with the US in the form of nuclear cooperation. He has taken full advantage of this to strengthen relations with America while adding his own spin. Both the countries together signed LEMOA, that is Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, in the year 2016. After this, both countries did their first 2+2 talks. Both the countries signed COMCASA, that is Communications Compatibility and Security Agreement, in the year 2018. The agreement allows the US to provide its encrypted communications equipment and systems to India so that Indian and US military commanders and aircraft and ships of both countries can communicate through secure networks in times of peace and war. It is worth noting here that the LEMOA agreement means that America trusts its partners so much that it is ready to share its valuable assets. The meaning of the COMCASA agreement is that America has now become so confident in India that it is not hesitating to share its encrypted systems with it. Not only this, both the countries also signed BECA, that is Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement, in the year 2020. This means that both the countries can share highly classified information in real time without any fear. America once worked against India. It had nominal cooperation with India. But now India has become so important for him that it is ready to go to any extent. Now it is the turn of this program's Sunday special segment, in which we will delve into other significant international news. Recently, Israel's energy minister and the chief executive of UAE's renewable energy firm Masdar signed an agreement. The agreement was made as part of the annual United Nations Climate Conference COP28 being held in Dubai. Under the agreement, Jordan will supply solar energy to Israel, and in return, Jordan will receive water from Israel. According to UNICEF, Jordan is the second most water-stressed country in the world. The agreement will meet Jordan's water needs and Israel's goal of increasing its clean energy mix. In this way, the United Arab Emirates has become the third Arab nation after Egypt and Jordan to establish diplomatic relations with Israel. China, Mongolia and Russia held the first high-level security trilateral meeting to strengthen regional stability. The objectives of this meeting include many factors. In this, an agreement has been signed for Power of Siberia 2 natural gas pipeline. The project will require close cooperation between these countries, including in the security sector. Various protest activities in Mongolia have raised fears of a color revolution. Due to this, China and Russia may have to face problems. In such a situation, China and Russia can help in eliminating the possibility of instability in Mongolia. Also, Mongolia's partnership with the United States has increased in recent years. This is also the reason that has prompted China and Russia to strengthen relations with Mongolia. However, these developments may cause Mongolia to face diplomatic and security pressures. Recently, Chinese authorities have issued navigation warnings over planned military exercises in some parts. In this, military exercises will be conducted by restricting navigation in some waters of the South China Sea. However, the location of the exercise was not disclosed in detail. At the same time, there is a situation of tension with the Philippines due to China's extensive territorial claims. At the same time, there is tension between the two countries regarding Scarborough Shoal. In fact, the Philippines has removed the blockade installed by China blocking the access of fishing boats. Let us tell you that both the countries claim sovereignty over Scarborough Shoal. It is located about 120 nautical miles from the Philippine island of Luzon and 594 nautical miles from China's southern island of Hainan. So that's all in today's episode. See you in the next episode. But before that, let's note down a question based on today's story. Throw light on the major historical developments of India-US relations.